Hello, everyone. This is Beastly EO, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Big Deep. We're thinking of what DC villain makes you think of Jaws, and he's been able to be into the more recent Suicide Squad movie. Well, it's none other than King Shark, who's actually his real name is Nanu Nanu Nanau Nanau. Anyway, I'm just going to call him King Shark for now because, frankly, that's how I know him as. So, for those of you who don't know who King Shark is, we're going to be talking about him and his exact history inside the comic books. So, let's start with his origins. So, he was born in Hawaii and he was a humanoid shark. His father was known as the king of all sharks, or as many would call him, the shark god. So, many people, especially this guy named Sam Mako, dismisses this superstition and actually just thinks he's a mutation. So he's just a mutation that was formed on Earth where he was actually just happened to be born that way, and that there's no mythical nature behind it. And apparently, they also have been inclinations that he's a wild man. Basically, they're evolved animals that are created on Earth. In actuality, he is more of a spawn of the god of sharks, just so you're aware. So King Shark was responsible for several missing persons many years before Superboy was anywhere near Hawaii. Um, Aided by his family, he was able to viciously eat um, several people that were taken. This special agent Sam Mako was responsible for bringing him in and bore the scars forever. Um, it took a combination of heavy weaponry and sheer luck for the team to be able to bring in King Shark. And ever since this moment, Macau was had a grudge against King Shark forever after this, especially after what was done with him. So King Shark was freed by the Silicon Dragons shortly after Superboy arrived in Hawaii. The Dragons were hoping that when they released King Shark, they would join forces with them and take out Superboy. But King Shark was not interested and killed every single one of them that tried to help bring him out, which is hilarious. But if you know him, you're not that surprised. So King Shark headed to his mother's house after escaping. She sheltered him and even let him eat her arm just so he could actually survive. He was so King Shark made an attempt to snag a swimmer on the beach, but instead, unfortunately, scared a bunch of children out of the water. Superboy, learning King Shark's origins from the special agent, insisted on going along with the agent to apprehend King Shark. So King Shark ambushes the kid, but specifically Superboy. But Superboy managed to take him down by firing a heat vision blast right at King Shark, and it knocked him out completely. Well, so when Superboy and Makio were assigned to the Suicide Squad to destroy the rest of the Silicon Dragons, King Shark was forced to help by Amanda Waller. Given that the base was at the bottom of the sea, an explosive belt was strapped to his waist, set to detonate if anything happened to Makio, or if he had gotten too far away from them. King Shark, I mean. Other members of the squad at this time were Knockout, Sidearm, and two well-known Suicide Squad members, Deadshot and Captain Boomerang. King Shark was a crazed fighting machine. He was ripping through most of the dragons with ease. He liked messing with the special agent Makio, but he made sure he stayed safe the entire time, mostly because he didn't want to die himself. It wasn't because he actually cared, it was more that he cared more about himself. And he made sure that he didn't suffer any injury whatsoever. So Sidearm betrayed the team and tried to cut and run. Um, King Shark killed him by stabbing him in the back, Sidearm. Um, and after a long series of running battles, King Shark was purposely knocked into the reactors of the underwater base by Knockout, who crushed the belt, and the resulting explosion destroyed the entire layer, and there was leaving no trace of either Knockout or King Shark. So after a research team went in to investigate the layer's remains, um, went completely missing, and King Shark was thought to be the person behind it, especially since Knockout was turned up alive and well in Hawaii later on. But after investigation, Superboy and Makio uncovered that it was actually Black Manta who was responsible for it. But I just wanted to bring that up because later on, King Shark did turn up alive and well shortly thereafter. He duked it out with Superboy, but was later defeated and driven out of the ocean. King Shark later turned up in the Wildlands, which is where the wild men come from, and fought Superboy and his allies. After a fierce battle, he was defeated, but they never found King Shark's body. So later on, King Shark also appeared as a member of the Legion of Villains, prompted by Manchester Black to assault Superman all at once. In this case, he turned up at Metropolis and attacked Jimmy Olsen. Superman quickly took him down with ease, knocking out most of his teeth, which, as most sharks, his teeth grew back later. Um, this where he was the only had two lines of dialogue, and normally in this particular issue he was actually very chatty, which is the first time we actually see him talking in the comics, because before he really was just more of a killing machine and not really more of a talkative creature. King Shark has also made an appearance in Joker's Last Laugh Riot with Orca. He's also been recruited by Lex Luthor for the Secret Society of Supervillains, and he was actually sent as part of the group to attack Atlantis. So that's interesting. Now let's talk about 1 year later. So this particular version of King Shark takes place a year after the Infinity Crisis. The Infinity Crisis is where all hell broke loose and destroyed all of reality and started the entire DC universe all over again. So King Shark appeared in Aquaman 1 year later after the Infinity Crisis, as I just said, and he was bearing a scar from a previous encounter with Aquaman. He's a less violent and more talkative version of him. His origin has made very clear in this one that he is the son of the shark god, and they think that has to do more with the fact that Aquaman in this universe has much more of a magic based than just that. So anyway, King Shark apparently works well with Aquaman for a while. They do a lot of working together, which I find very odd. Mostly because villain hero, but whatever. Apparently they work well together, and King Shark does well with him for now. And then later on, they actually talk about the first meeting between the original Aquaman and King Shark. And apparently, it took place in this distant place outside of Atlantis. And this was when Orin was still king of Atlantis at the time. Um, and he decided to fight King Shark because he murdered a priest at the time belonging to the Order of the Thorny Crown. And in the last 6 months of that time, King Sharks had killed a lot of other members of the group, basically obeying his father's will. And it turned out that if the Thorned Crown was shattered, um, because of that, they would bring back a huge power. And that's what was the basis of King Shark doing what he was doing. So King Shark believed, the Shark God believed that if the order was destroyed, it would trigger the prophecy, giving birth to even more power than he already had. King Shark tried to complete this, but unfortunately, Aquaman defeated him before he was able to reach his goal, and he was imprisoned by the priests of the Thorny Crown during the 3 years, before obviously escaping. And he mentioned that he apparently was being tortured during his captivity. Now, this was him before the Suicide Squad. Then the Suicide Squad, we see a much different Shark. He still kills people and everything else, but he tries to help out his squad. I wanted to show a different side of King Shark because he is very different. And I liked him in the animated movies and even the Suicide Squad movie and in the comics. He's such an interesting character, even though there's not much going on with him. So let's talk about his powers and abilities. So he has a unique physical being, basically. He's the son of a shark god. So he's a humanoid shark. That's basically exactly how I can put it. He can survive underwater indefinitely and even long periods of time on land. He has super strong claws, super strong teeth. He's just super strong in general. Superhuman stamina. And when he's driven to a frenzy, aka when there's blood in the water, he is nearly unstoppable. And he has animal empathy, which is he basically just has the ability to sense and call out to his shark cousins to come to him. Although he's unable to control them, especially when they are filled with blood frenzy, they do definitely help him out. And shocking, he's an expert swimmer. King Shark is definitely an interesting character. I always enjoyed him personally. I actually got introduced to him, I believe it was New 52, specifically in the Suicide Squad, where I got to see him fight his dad, which I thought was awesome. Overall, I like the character because he's just so bizarre. And that's what I like about him. He's so unlike everybody else in the Suicide Squad. For God's sakes, he's not even fully human. I don't even think he's human at all, if I remember correctly. He might have, no, I think he does have a human mother. But that being said, it's just so interesting to see a half god shark be a part of the DC universe and be liked by so many people in what's called the Suicide Squad, which is just a Task Force X, which is just to kill people. So let me know what you thought in the comments. Did you like that I talked about King Shark? Do you think I missed something very important about his story arcs? Please let me know in the comments. If there's a character that you think I should talk about more, please also mention it in the comments. And as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is Beastly Eel. Have a great night.